Good morning, everyone, and Om Shanti. Today, we will continue with yesterday's Murli. The top title of the Murli is The Essence of All Point is to Become the Form of a Point. The date of the Murli is 5 April 1970. Now, before starting, let's recall what Baba said yesterday. In yesterday's part, Baba said that a point is extremely subtle and everything is merged within it. And at present, the main effort that we have to do is to merge the expansion, to merge it there and then. Also, Baba said, we all are special, but now we have to become elevated. We must continue to listen and become an embodiment at the same time. Now, in today's part, Baba is answering some of very important questions like how we can become the one who will be loved by everyone, how will we become an image that attracts, when do we receive Babdada's love, when do we receive regard, what is meant by complete surrender, and how to become an embodiment of power. So all these questions will be answered by Baba in today's part of the Murli. Now let's start with the Murli. Why is this flower being given? Babdada is giving in one birth the return of all the worshipping you have done for many births. Those who are unique are much loved. If you wish to be loved very much by everyone, then the more detached you remain in all aspects, the more you will be loved by everyone. There should be as much love as there is detachment. Those who are detached and loving in this way receive support from Babdada. You must continue to become detached and be loved. If you cannot be loved by any particular soul, the reason is that you are not detached from that soul's nature and sanskars. The more you experience detachment, the more you will be loved by everyone. You do not have to make effort to be loved, but to be detached. The reward of being detached is to be loved. That this is the reward of this time. Just as Baba is loved by everyone, in the same way, children have to be loved by the souls of the whole world. You have been told about the effort for that. There will be detachment in their activity. This flower is for becoming completely detached in the world and being loved by the world. This group is also cheerful. What has to be added to that cheerfulness now? How will you become an image that attracts? When your intellect is beyond being attracted by anything, you will then become an image that attracts. So when our intellect will be beyond the attraction of anything, then we will become an image that attracts. While your intellect is attracted to something, you will not be able to attract. Those who become an image that attracts become a subtle image. The Father was an image that attracted even while subtle. The more subtle you become, the more you will be able to attract. Just as when those people go beyond Earth into space, they go beyond the pole of the world. So, when you go beyond the pole of the old world, you will then become an image that attracts, even against your conscious wish, even while being in the corporeal form. You have to see everyone as subtle. You receive a lot of power from service. One is the power received through your effort, and the other is power received through the service of others. You receive both these powers. How do you receive Bab-Dada's love? Do you know? The more cooperative you become in the Father's task, the more love you will receive. You receive love by giving cooperation in His task. Do you have this experience? On the day when you are more cooperative than the task requires, do you experience greater love? We all have experienced this, that when we are more cooperative, then at that time we receive more, we experience more love. Be constantly cooperative and be constantly loved. How do you receive regard? The more humble you remain, the more regard you will receive. The more equal you become to Bab-Dada, the more regard you will receive. You have to become humble and equal to the Father. You have to make such effort. There shouldn't be anything lacking in your humility or in your being equal to the Father. So if we want to receive regard from everyone, then what effort we have to make? We have to being equal to Father, and we have to be humble. Then there will not be anything lacking in the regard for you. You have to recognize your regard from your equality with the Father. What will you have to become in order to grant a vision of Bab-Dada through yourself? With what are you able to grant a vision of anything? With a mirror. So you have to make yourself into a mirror. Only when you completely surrender yourself can you become a mirror. Complete surrender is an elevated mirror in which you can receive a clear vision. If you have surrendered yourself according to your worthiness and according to your capacity, then the mirror will also be according to your worthiness and according to your capacity. Complete surrender means to surrender even the consciousness of the self. What must you consider yourself? The special task of you Kumaris is to grant everyone a vision of Bab-Dada, not just through words, but through your faces. As Bab-Dada is meeting to Kumaris, Baba is saying the special task of you Kumaris is to grant everyone a vision of Bab-Dada, not just through words, but through your faces. You have to bring about in yourself the specialities that Sakar Father had. This is a special group. In the Sakar form, Baba used to say, this is the group of those who take the initiative like Arjuna, who are equal to Allah. So, this group has to become equal to Allah. You have to become equal to Allah and show everyone. Just as there is a tilak sparkling on your forehead, in the same way, you have to make yourself sparkle in the world. You have to keep this aim. Because of your being cooperative in service, Bab-Dada also has special love. Together with cooperation and love, you now have to fill yourself with power. You now have to become embodiment of power. Out of all the powers, which special power does this group have to fill themselves with? Tolerance power. Those who lack tolerance power have less perfection. You especially have to adopt this power and become embodiments of power. Satisfied souls have the special virtues of fearlessness and contentment. Those who remain content and also keep others content automatically have all the virtues in them. The more you become an embodiment of power, the less the weakness will remain in front of you. So, you must return having become an embodiment of power, not just a Brahma Kumari. But sometimes there is weakness in considering yourself to be a Kumari. An embodiment of power has the power to destroy. A Shakti is constantly victorious. There are always garlands of victory around the necks of the Shaktis. When you forget the awareness of your being an embodiment of power, victory becomes distant. This is why you must always consider yourself to be a Shakti. Children are greater magicians than the father. Children are greater magicians because they can make the father into whatever they want. It is remembered that the father can make whatever he wants. But who are those who can make God into whatever they want? The children. Your bringing him into the corporeal while he is settled would be called magic. The days of becoming settled are close, and so you have received a lift from the settled. You have to become equal in both, being an embodiment of knowledge and an embodiment of remembrance. You have to become an embodiment of knowledge when you wish, and you have to become an embodiment of remembrance when you wish. The more you remain an embodiment of remembrance, the more you will be able to remind others of the Father. You have to become the embodiment of remembrance and remind everyone of Baba. Are you waiting for time, or is time waiting for you? You must not wait for time. You must keep yourself ever ready in such a way that the time can come at any moment. You must finish waiting and make all preparations. When you have finished making all your preparations, there is no need to wait. This is called being ever ready. To be ever ready in everything, not just in service, but also in effort. Ever ready in also making your sanskars close to those of the Father. You have special love, and Baba is therefore talking of things that will make you special. What are the new flowers and leaves on a tree like? The first ones are old, but those that emerge later are very beautiful. So you have also come late, but are very much loved. The ones that come later are very soft. What is there in being soft here? The softer you are, the warmer you are. If you are just soft, someone may be able to snatch you away. Together with being delicate, Komal, you must also show wonders, that is Kamal. When there is the combination of being delicate and showing wonders, you will be able to show wonders. This entire group is one that can show wonders. Keep such an aim that you can show any wonder. There are the older ones, but the younger ones are equal to Allah. Whatever actions you perform, so you will be named accordingly. If you perform elevated actions, you will be given the name of elevated jewels. Elevated jewels have to perform all actions in an elevated way. Through your thoughts, words, and deeds, it is essential to be easy natured and tolerant. If you are easy natured but not tolerant, you cannot be said to be elevated. This is why you need to be easy natured and tolerant at the same time. If you become easy natured without being tolerant, then that would be counted as being too innocent. If you have tolerance as well as being easy natured, you would be called an embodiment of power. Shaktis need to have both the virtues of being easy natured and tolerant. In the result of the present time, it is seen that sometimes you are more easy natured and sometimes you are more tolerant. Now you have to become equal in both of these. There has to be sweetness and also the form of power. You see many pictures of the goddesses. And what have you seen in them? To the extent that they are the form of intense fire, so they are also cool. Their task is of the volcanic form, whereas their faces are of coolness. This is the final form. Acha, Om Shanti. How we will stay in remembrance for 1 minute, then we will have churnings. Om Shanti. Om Shanti, everyone. Now we can share our churnings.
Om Shanti. Good morning, everyone. Very nice, Murli. I like the point where my Baba says that the more cooperative you become in Father's class, the more lovable you become. And the more humble and equal you become with Baba, the more regard you receive. And you need to recognize your regard in the mirror. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister. When Baba says that your intellect should not get attracted or pulled towards anything when you become equal to the Father. So that's my takeaway, sister.
Very nice, sister. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. And I also like the point where my Baba has asked us to be ever ready, not only in service, but in everything. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
Detached and loving. I was just churning about it. Baba is saying, if you really want to be loved by everyone, you have to come away from that person. Now, I was just thinking, well, how can I love somebody when I'm not close to that person or I go far away from him? But what over here Baba actually meant is, if I stop that clinging from that person, if I detach myself from my physical identity, it's what I generally called as, this detachment. We sometimes think it's the opposite of love. No, detachment is the opposite of attachment. So attachment means ye mera hai. Possessiveness, when it comes, I will not allow that person to look here, look there. Like, I'm trapping that person and I'm also getting myself trapped. Then there is no love flowing at all. That's why Baba is using the word over there, that attraction, that pull, just like in space, they get pulled from the world. You should not exercise any pull over a person, and you should not be pulled from that person. It's such a way, it's like a paradox. Detach, but yet you can be loved. But how beautifully Baba has explained that, how he says you will become a magnet, because we see the people to whom we are the closest, they are the ones who hurt us the most. So Baba is saying, be detached, be appreciative. So if you're detached, you can connect yourselves to Baba, you can get the qualities for him, and you can share it with others. So this love is possible only with this kind of detachment.
Wonderful, sister.
Om Shanti. Point for me to take home is where Baba today mentions that along with being loving and cooperative, you also now have to be an embodiment of power. And the gap I could see is it's very easy for me to be easy, loving, and cooperative. But seldom I will go back and tell the person that this is not the way it is expected to be, or seldom will I go and confront people. Now, that's the gap that I'm looking for myself to be filled in to what Baba is talking today. Another point in today's Murli that Baba mentions is those souls who are satisfied will always be fearless and content. So the other 2 points that touched me today to reflect back and practically apply. Om Shanti.
Very nice, sister.
Om Shanti. In this point, which Girija sister told that that detachment always comes before the love. So not only with our relations, family and the Sambandh Sampark, but also in the world. Baba says that we have to become like being loved by the world. So again, the same detachment has to be applied to the world also. When we are detached from the world, then we are being loved by the world. Then we can become totally unique in the world. That is the Tilak is a reminder of that. Second is about the mirror, that through the soul should be able to grant a vision of Bap Dada through yourself. So that the mirror, the concept of mirror, that I am a mirror which receives the power from the Bap Dada and reflects it totally. Basically, the total surrender of one's own self, even the consciousness of the self. That is a very interesting point which touched me. Om Shanti.
Wonderful, brother.
Adding on to what Om Bhai just mentioned, to practice detachment with not just our own family, but also with the world. The paradox to this is it is very easy to practice detachment for those outside the world, but to practice that back with people with whom we live our life every day, whether it's going to be at work or at home, is a challenge that practically we see. And the reason I think that there is the challenge is there to detach from people whom we daily connect with is the practice of being a detached observer, or being free from expectations to be fulfilled, is an area to be looked at for myself. Because for me, it's very easy to practice detachment for people that I don't know, the souls that I don't know in person. But people with whom I daily interact with is a challenge to look at. And that's going to be somewhere the work has to happen. Om Shanti.
May I say something? Yes, very, very, very valid point. And it also resonates with the statement that those who are very close to us, they even hurt more. So if we do some churning here, we actually find out that the where there is a hurt, that means there is some attachment. So the total detachment has not happened with that relationship. So therefore, we get hurt. Where there is detachment, there is cannot be hurt. There will always be love. That the point which Baba says, that we check whether I am totally being detached, then I will receive the reward of being loved and also feel love. Om Shanti.
Very true. Adding on to what you just said, there is hurt because we expect something from the other soul. And the thin line is, can I be off expectation? I don't know whether I can be, but whether I can be free from that expectation getting fulfilled. That's the practice which will allow me to be free from hurt or free from pain. That was what I was seeing when you were talking about why the other soul, or why I get hurt with people that I'm living every day.
Yeah. Sister Baba talks about three words. They have deep meaning. One is defect, where there is a lot of expectations. Umeed, kisi se umeed rakna is a defect. Then second is to be expect, and then there is a perfect. So the stage of perfection is where there is no defect and where there is no expectation from anyone. Then it is perfect. So only expectation is from Baba, no one else. Then that pure love can be experienced from Bab Dada, which gets reflected in. So that's something which needs to be practiced every day. Sometimes because of Maya, day-to-day roles, we get attached to the roles and then we start expecting that something from that role. So that's again we have to it's checking point. Om Shanti.
And may I add something here, brother? Sometimes the attachment you may also experience with Baba himself. Like the expectation is that I have done so much and, Baba should do this for me, or I expect Baba to at different points. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And that's at a very high level of connection with the Almighty directly. And when that doesn't happen and you still continue to have the same pure love, is also a very different level of detachment and love when it is directly with the Almighty, not even with the people around you. Om Shanti.
Yeah, true. It's the mirror concept. If the mirror is having some kind of dust or some kind of defect, then it will not reveal Bab Dada. So the mirror needs to be checked. Basically, my own inner self needs to be checked. And Baba talks about that we have to surrender even the consciousness of the self. Even the consciousness of the self can be a defect. It could be kind of a dust or the dirt which is not giving a clear vision. So it's very deep we have to check what is hindering. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. What a beautiful churning we are really having on this love, attachment, and the defect and all that. I remember even in the gross level, they say, अगर किसी का प्यार को समझना है, उनसे अलग हो जाओ, उनके बारे में सोचो, then you will know it is not they who are actually stopping it. आपके अंदर, as Om Bhai said, कुछ आपकी जो कमी है, आपके अंदर जो कमियां है, आपके अंदर जो है, आप उनमें देखना चाहते हैं, which is not correct. You want your weakness, your thing to be filled by the other person. Instead, if suppose I first get filled by the higher power and then I do it. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing I was just journeying. Now, Om Bhai was mentioning about mirror. I only think of one thing. Baba says, जब आप सेवा में जाते हैं, do they say, oh, आपका lecture बहुत अच्छा था, or do they find Baba? So that means even in my lecture, when I made them hear, I made them hear me. Similarly, in the mirror, if I stand, what is the constituents of the mirror where only my reflection is seen? So you have to know the science behind the mirror. When I'm standing, I am seen. But what is the constituent for me? If I stand in front of the mirror, I am not seen, but my Baba is seen. That secret is what Baba wants to say, reveal me. So that's what in the mirror I do. Sometimes when I go out, I put the cloak of Brahma Baba on me. I said, hello, don't see me, see Brahma Baba. You know, these kind of visual things I have often practiced. Om Shanti.
May I say 1 minute, half a minute? This point is beautifully expressed, where the beauty of the entire thing is that I as a soul have only control on my mirror. That's all. That my duty is to focus on my mirror, not anybody else's mirror. That is the beauty of the entire thing. And that's where is my Purusharth. Focus on my mirror, keep cleaning it every day. That's all I have to do. Remaining sun is already there. The Gyan Sur is already there. It has to, I should reflect him. That is a Purusharth. That is efforts. Om Shanti.
And just one more example in the worldly sense, where I speak to my friends and, they share their experiences. The challenges that they face is when there is a commitment between two people, whether it is at work or in personal lives. It could be a marriage or it could be a partnership at work, where there is actually a commitment and an expectation of loyalty towards each other in your work or in your personal life. And then when there's a betrayal, and then they were asking me, like, how do you then deal with this? Because now this is not detachment or attachment. This was actually an agreement that we were going to do this together. And now there's a betrayal of trust. And then I think that becomes more on the karmic situation rather than attachment, detachment, love. What do you feel about that? Because this is another thing where people get very depressed and then they are not easily able to come out of it when they are hurt terribly because of betrayal of trust.
Here, the only power which can detach you is the power of remembrance, Smriti Swarup. That who am I? Am I some, am I identifying myself with the role? Again, be detached from that role and then see the things. You will find everything in right perspective. I think that is a Smriti
Yeah.
Swarup.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, that's exactly what I would share with them as well. Replace that feeling with remembrance of the Almighty. And maybe it is an offsetting of past karmic debts, which is just helping you to evolve further.
But can I add over here, sister, like even for me, before remembrance of the Almighty, I have to first dissolve that He has betrayed me. That one thing which is running in my thing. So I should have a lot of forgiveness in me. I should have a lot of mercy in me. I should see that soul, what was the reason for the betrayal. He would have even his man. before even I approach my Baba, I have to completely dissolve myself of all the malified things or the thing, oh, usne mujhe aisa kiya. That thing I should remove. Only then I can go and really get that power from Baba and understand, oh, it's like that. I feel that I should carry with me. Om Shanti.
Yeah, very nicely said, sister. In fact, the bigger challenge is now you have forgiven also. Now we're going one step above, right? I know people personally also who are at that stage. They have forgiven, they have, used Baba's energy, they have healed to a large extent, and they're continuing to be associated with those people, but in a new way, in a very detached way, but in a loving way. And that is the biggest challenge, that it's not even that they've cut off from those people. It is a very big challenge to continue to be with such kind of people and yet be forgiving and loving and detached. And you're still dealing with the same people. I'd say the biggest test what Rama puts in front of you, but then the remembrance keeps helping you to cope with it. Om Shanti.
Adding to that, well, now we have this knowledge from Baba that I can always fall back on my original form, that is a seed stage. And all these expansions, the roles and various commitments associated with the roles, who created? I only created as a master creator. So I go back, I trace back to my seed stage, and you do the corrections there. And the tools for correction are these mercy, rahmdil, and forgiving, forget. All this needs to be done at the very subtle level, at the seed stage, and then again come back into the expansion. Now you are totally detached. You're totally bondage free. Now you are being loved because you are totally detached. So this practice of going back to the seed, do the experiments, do the necessary changes, and then again come back to the expansion uh, into the world and start playing the role now with that power which you have received, with the revelation which you received, that I have done those corrections, I am now equal to Baba, then come back to the world. So that I think that repeated things will make one free from these kind of effects. Om Shanti.
Uh,
Just a
just want
final
to,
one sentence. Don't look through the keyhole. Look at the big picture. Om Shanti.
True. That's true.
I just want to add one point here for this subject or this particular detachment and betrayal point, because if we are just talking about decays, they know all these different points to come out of that pain that someone has betrayed or anything. But if it is specifically for outsiders who do not have these understandings, because in even when we were not in Gyan, we were not BKs, we also thought that because the conditioning of the society, entire society is like this, that every relation is to be made to get something from the relationship. It is not the relationship that you should give something to the relationship, but any, whether it is parent child, it is husband wife, any relation, it is for to get something from them, not to give something them. So this is a basic conditioning. So whatever all the points we discussed, they can be a little bit easily possible for BKs, but for outsiders who really do not know all these things, they, I mean, even if we are in contact of any kind of such people, we also need to make them aware that the basic conditioning is itself a wrong, it is a wrong conditioning. So we first need to make them understand that relationship is not to get, but it is to give. Because once they understand this difference, only then they can be able to forget the person who betrayed them. So all these points, if we are just talking about BKs, it is okay that we can manage ourselves with all these different programmings or these different viewer perspectives. But for them, we need to support them. We need to help them in this way, that the basic conditioning is itself something wrong, and this has been done for years, maybe for generations. So it is a bit difficult for them. But if some of us, or if we are in their context, then we can help them. So I was just thinking that all these points are very correct, and in fact, it is very important to to churn such points to get out of that situation or to get out of that pain. But for them, we need to support them in a subtle way, that the conditioning is itself a little awkward, which need to be changed into their mind so they can come out of it, come out of that particular pain. Thank you.
Sister, for non-BKs, another adding to that, what you just said, is to look virtue in own self as well as others. Always look at the Visheshta. Then if we start working on this, even as a non-BK, one really finds there are a lot of Visheshta in the other person, which were not being seen. I was not putting effort on that. So once we start seeing virtues, then it creates that kind of energy, the positive energy around that relationship, and then it helps in healing the relationship and feeling loved, and also capability of loving other. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, just adding on to what Yogita Ben and Om Bhai then took it forward, is the basic crux is to accept each one as is. And then it becomes easy to give and to bless or see the specialities of each one. Om Shanti.
Wonderful, sister. Now, based on today's Murli, we will have a short quiz. So, are you all ready?
Yes, sister.
Okay. So, the first question is, the more dash you remain in all aspects, the more you will be loved by everyone. The more dash you remain in all aspects, the more you will be loved by everyone.
Is it detach?
Yes, correct. Right, brother. Now, next question is, how will you become an image that attracts? How will you become an image that attracts?
Subtle. Intellect, when your intellect
is equal to Father.
Yes, correct, sister. When your intellect is beyond being attracted by anything, you will then become an image that attracts. Next question. One is the power you receive through your dash, and the other is power received through the dash of others.
Power through received is effort.
And second one?
The other power when you serve other people.
Yes, correct. First one is power received through your effort, and the other is power received through the service of others. Very nice. Now, next question is, dash is an elevated mirror in which you can receive a clear vision. Dash is an elevated mirror in which you can receive a clear vision. Correct. Complete surrender. Now, next question is, you must always consider yourself to be a dash. You must always consider yourself to be a dash.
Shakti. Magician.
Yes, correct.
Magician.
It is Shakti. Shakti. Yeah. Last question. Through your thoughts, words, and deeds, it is essential to be dash and dash. Through your thoughts, words, and deeds, it is essential to be dash and dash.
Easy.
Yes.
Easy-natured and tolerant.
Yeah, correct. Very nice. Yes, Om Bhai, you want to say something?
Yeah, that has been answered. Om Shanti. Correctly.
Okay. Om Shanti. Well done. Congratulations to all of you for your participation. Now we will have a meditation.
Just a minute, sister. Om Bhai,
Yes,
when you were, I just want to ask Om Bhai. Om Bhai, when you were speaking out, you just came out with a line that no defect, no expectation is perfection. Have I taken the sentence rightly? Is this what you mentioned?
Yeah, when there is no defect, there are three stages. There's three stages. One is a defect. when I know that, there is a defect inside me, there's some weakness because of which I'm not able to see the truth as clearly as possible, as it should be. And second is that after defect, if there is a that and I have a defect, I will come into effect of others. I will get influenced. And then expect is also a defect. And when I'm beyond these three, then I am actually the perfect, which will not have either of these three lower energies. So perfect is what Baba wants us to be, which
Okay.
is equal to Baba Dada. Om Shanti.
Okay. Thank
Om Shanti. Now we will start with the meditation. I relax my body completely. Now I try to look at my forehead, and in the center of forehead there is a sparkling light shining, situated at the center of my forehead. I, the soul, detach myself from this body and from this world. Look at yourself, that tiny point of light traveling upwards. I, the soul, rising above this planet. I am going home, crossing the sun, moon, and the stars. I, the soul, have reached the soul world, my home. I can see Baba, a very bright shining point of light in front of me. Baba's unconditional love and powers are flowing towards me. I, the soul, is getting filled with power of tolerance. I am becoming an embodiment of power. I am a Shiv Shakti. I am becoming fearless and contented. I am completely surrendering myself to Baba. And Baba is filling me with humility. I, the divine being, is full of powers. I, the soul, am now returning from my home to the world where I have come from to play my part. Let me look at myself, that tiny point of light, now traveling back towards the planet. I, the soul, have come back to this world and into my body in the center of the forehead. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Let's take this homework of practicing detachment wherever we're facing challenge at this point of time as an homework. And we shall meet tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Thank you, Sakshiben. Thank you, Divine Family. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Baba.